So what you see here on the screen is, again, it's a work in progress. It's the current site plan. The city, just as an update, the city has hired an engineering and surveying firm, in fact, the same firm that's working on the middle school, to review all of the off-site improvements to improve the roadways, the parking situation and such. They've also hired a traffic engineer to review all of the traffic that we talked about at our last meeting about queuing the cars and making it, queuing as many as we can. And so there's more to come on that, but as it stands right now, we are still working off of the concept that you're looking at here, which provides the soccer field up front off of Denison, and then a secured area in the back for outdoor classrooms, outdoor eating, things like that, and completely separates the buses from all of the vehicular traffic, whether it be parent drop-off or teacher parking or administration and staff. Any questions about that?
Well, another key feature of that is you can walk out the school onto the playground without having to cross traffic.
Exactly.
So,
Yep.
So all the parking on Denison will be gone?
There will be parking on Denison.
Okay, so that's not reflected in...
There's
Good
a
drawing.
little bit right behind a tree here. There'd be parking on two sides. And again, that's being, it's going to be different because they're talking about either making it a two-way street or reversing the one-way to go in the opposite direction and to maximize the width of that road. So the width of the road actually can support parking, whether it's parallel, but right now you sort of pull in
Right.
parking. This would be more of a parallel situation, depending on what the solution is from the city.
So take me through the traffic flow, please.
Okay, so the traffic flow, I'm trying to, so you can't see the cursor, but the traffic flow right now, you know what it's like right now, right? So in discussions with the city, there's a couple of options. One option was talked about maybe making Denison a one-way in the opposite direction. Click on this.
Oh, yeah, there it
Oh,
is.
look at this. So anyway, you can, instead of coming down Denison, sort of down the street, head north on Denison and go this way. What that would do is as people approach the school to drop off, they'd come around Co in Garrison. They'd head in this direction. Not across the fields, but they'd head in this direction, down the access road, around the car drop off, and then back out, and then take a right. So that's one option. And what that does is it negates all of the left-hand turn we were talking about at a previous meeting. Again, the city is looking into this and having a traffic study done. The other thing that does is it allows, obviously, the buses to take place over here. And as folks are going this way, we're thinking maybe bicycle and pedestrian traffic from the students would come down into the school like this. So basically, this intersection is going to get redone, I believe, as part of that off-site improvement. And then if we had bicycle and pedestrians to have a little walkway here, then that gets them completely off of the roadway and out of the cars and the buses. The other thing is that the buses would come up here. There's kind of a pull-off. You can see the pull-off here. So all of the buses would be on Co Drive, and then they can turn around and head back towards the high school. Again, that's another way to allow the sidewalk to continue from the high school down to the middle school, give the buses a place to sort of pull off the road, if you will, and of course they're dropping off on the right side so the students never cross in front of a bus. When that bus loop is not being used and there are specialty drop-offs or any kind of other drop-off associated with the school who didn't want to come into the parking lot or so forth, that would be available. All of the cars, whether it's staff parking, visitor parking, would come around here. Then there was talks of delivery. So this car turnaround is also designed for when they're not being dropped off and they're not being picked up for deliveries to come in. So we're sort of maximizing that. Because one of the things we are also looking at is maximizing the open green space, which was talked about earlier, and I think we're around 16% of the entire site is asphalt. And then, of course, you got the building footprint, but all of the rest is open green space. And so, depending on what we do back here, I should say. And back here, we're also talking about maybe a playground structure, basketball hoops, things for the students to do at recess. And as pointed out, they'd come out of the school here and here without ever having to cross or engage in any kind of vehicles.
Okay. So you're no longer looking at Dennison as being two-way?
Right, so there was a lot of comments about if it were two-way, what does that do? If it's one-way, what does that do? And in our last meeting with the city, they said they're going to hire a traffic engineer
Okay.
and get it sorted out.
Okay. And I think that, I think the town needs to consider that, so that's important. So the scenario of kids leaving the school who want to go, so if you're going, assuming kind of this is north, right? North of Dennison. If you go up Dennison, you hit Baghdad Road, right there. So there's an incredible amount of foot traffic that goes to Baghdad and then goes down the hill for kids that live down that way, up Emerson or whatever. How do you foresee those kids traversing the line of cars of pickup and getting out that way?
When
You
they're
see what I'm
leaving-
saying?
When they're leaving school?
Right, when they're leaving school. Or the converse, when they're coming, where you're having people making a loop and then driving out. And so that's the two houses that you see there, so there's a sidewalk there?
These two houses here?
Right, so kids
Yeah.
are on
So
that
there's a sidewalk here.
Right, there's a sidewalk there, then.
Then they
kind of
cross
that
the
little
street.
Intersection, across that bigger road is where the library is, so a lot of kids go to the library.
Yep.
Or a lot of kids make a right turn in order to get to their neighborhoods.
They go this way.
So
Right, so they're going up, right?
Ron,
So
Yeah.
I'm concerned about how they're going to
Yeah.
traverse.
let me.
Sure.
So currently, Kenny, we have one of our people go out and monitor traffic at the lower corner where the intersection that's going to be modeled is.
Which-
But if
which-
this-
which
if-
intersection?
Right where the red dot is. So
Okay.
we have a person there.
Right.
In this design, it makes sense that we move that person to the top of Dennison and Baghdad, because that's where the traffic would be, and that adult would be able to stop traffic and let kids cross who need to.
But just in the diagram, kids leave the school, there's the school building. How do they get to that sidewalk where the two houses are?
Yeah.
Well, there's
here.
a sidewalk.
They'd have to cross there, right?
Yeah, there'd be a crosswalk here.
So they're walking that white line, they walk up and they make that loop?
So this white line here is a crosswalk, I mean a sidewalk, rather. So they'd come up to here and obviously there'd be a crosswalk here. And then you're saying there's a sidewalk there,
Right.
and then they'd go this way.
And then we'd have the adult at that Baghdad
So
intersection.
where they're crossing the traffic leaving from the loop, how are we going to get them across that space?
Jay can assign a person to be on duty at that intersection.
Okay. But you see,
Yep,
What-
absolutely.
yeah.
I think, what we're doing is we're trading a dangerous intersection at the lower corner for a high-traffic intersection at the top, but it's just a matter of making sure we have the adults present to make sure the kids can cross safely.
they're both really high risk right now. I'm amazed we've not had any problems.
Well, we
Going
reach
towards
out, we've reached out to the Durham PD, and they don't have the staffing to,
Right.
direct it either. So I think that, the current situation is a miracle that a child
that's
or
what
an
I'm saying.
adult hasn't been hurt.
Right.
I think this arrangement improves the current situation, and the issue of adult supervision falls on us and Jay, and he'll make sure the kids are safe by putting somebody there if it needs to happen.
Right. And I think this is a incredibly significant improvement from the first iteration that you brought to us. I
Yeah.
think that this leaves a lot more holding room for cars and
Yeah, and that, I think that, the ultimate decision in terms of the whole traffic pattern is really going to actually be with the town side of things, and I would have to say that Todd's been nothing but super and cooperative in terms of us looking at the whole traffic pattern and trying to make it better. So it really, in this particular set of circumstances, a true partnership between the town of Durham and the school system.
And-
It's been a
and
marvelous.
Last thing I say, and I just always need to say it, we really have a transportation problem, and that's why we have a pickup and drop-off problem. And until we environmentally and really look at our transportation problem, we're always going to be sticking our finger in a dike, and we're going to spend a lot of money for systems. And I really think we should be looking at our transportation model, which really doesn't follow any kind of design. I think that's board objectives.
Denise?
So I guess hearing all that, I might have a suggestion that maybe the sidewalk would be better off if it, I'll say the southern end of the staff parking lot, the other side, like if it, as it started to come out of the school, go there and go up that way, like, yeah.
Go
have
up this
that-
way?
Yeah, exactly, have the sidewalk there, cross there, and then it could go right across that way, possibly. I don't know if that's possible, but then what that would do, it would just avoid having them have to cross the entranceway to the staff parking lot. I don't
Oh,
know
here.
if that'd be possible, right,
Yeah.
yeah, if it went around the other side.
Right, so, I mean, it's a great suggestion, but unfortunately, like, if you go out to the school now, where Dennison Road is, the topography drops off.
Yeah, so there's
to
a
the
big
school.
drop off there.
So that's quite a hill.
Yeah.
We'd end up having stairs there
Okay,
and such, so, but that's a good point, we're gonna have a crosswalk here as well, and then another one here, and then here. And I think all these points that you're pointing out is things that the traffic engineer in the town are working on to really take a look at, what's the best way to handle it.
You could even close off access to the parking lot on the left during pickup and drop-off times.
Exactly.
Right, signage, we talked about signage, Michael, quite a bit in terms of my conversations with the chief, and we, they're, in urban settings, they have signage that does exactly that. During this time and this time, this can't happen. And urban school systems do it all the time relatively
We
successfully.
already do it with Mohammed.
Exactly.
Okay.
Where would you put that signage?
I would even have somebody go out and put a barricade across right where that laser pointer is right now. Yep.
but what if you have staff members that?
They will
Really?
know very quickly that they can't leave during certain times.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I can sympathize with someone that might have an appointment and might need to leave right after school or something, so,
Well, then they park on the other side.
if they could, I don't know, that sounds like it's more visitor, but whatever, I can,
We do that now.
yeah.
Our staff can't leave during certain times.
Oh, okay.
Because the buses out back and things
Oh,
like
okay.
that, so we're very strategic about that.
Oh, okay, so
Staff are
people
told
know.
if you have a dentist appointment at 3:15, you need to leave at 3
Yeah.
o'clock, this is where you need to park, you can't park here.
Got it, okay.
So, why don't we go ahead, because we're going to have another crack. You got to come back after with another,
I can,
what's it?
Before we move forward, just one quick question. Is the building itself in the same location on the site that it's been before? Or did it move towards, in the Dennison direction here?
it is, actually, it's obviously on the ball field behind the existing middle school, but it is being rotated and moved.
Okay.
Depending on drainage design, obviously access to the fields, anything that we're doing to make the grades work along Code Drive and back here. So the building itself, we have it oriented obviously for solar energy. And then, because of the efficiency of the square, we're able to just twist and move that around to get everything to work. So. So then the first floor, again, the concept remains as you've seen prior. All of the red is administration, counseling, and special ed towards the front of the building. As you enter the building, there's a series of portals that you need to get through in order to get into the building. And then on the first floor, we have the gymnasium, or athletics, we have the recital hall, the library, the servery and kitchen, and 2 pieces of the music program, which is in the purple flanking, and then the dining and learning commons in the middle of the building. And what this does is, again, puts all of the academic space, except for the music, upstairs.
I do have.
Yep.
I just have a question about the recital hall in terms of, have there been any changes? I know that at one of the community forums we had, some people were concerned about seating that would be sort of kind of behind the performers. And I just didn't know if anything had shifted as far as the way the seating was being arranged.
Well, actually, we moved the performance back a little bit, so it goes to this wall here.
Oh, okay,
Some of the seats that were here were pulled out
Okay.
and put back here.
okay,
And so so now you see it from the side,
okay,
and from in front, and from the side.
yeah,
And most of the performers would be here.
okay.
The orientation of the building compared to the overall thing that you showed us on the last slide, so it's we would rotate this a little bit.
Correct.
That's how it's sitting.
Correct.
In
Yep.
space, right?
Yep.
And the front entrance is it?
Front entrance is here.
Okay.
Yep. And for anybody who's interested in more of an analysis about this, I believe that the safety and security presentation is on the school's website. So it just talked a little bit more about what measures we're taking. The second floor, the yellow on the right-hand side, my right anyway, we have STEM academics here, and we have art program, and then we have world languages going on here. We then have the third and fourth floor are the same. So this is the third floor, and the 4 different colors continue to represent the 4 different teams on both floors. We have light wells in the middle of the building. We have team areas, and the red that you see there is special ed support and faculty support on every floor. And again, the 4th floor is identical.
And there are 4 sets of stairways?
Yeah, so the reason for the 4 stairs and the 2 elevators are 4 teams get 4 stairs. In talking with the educators, it's great to have teams be able to move through the building without going through other teams, if you will. So they share those stairs between the 3 floors. And then the 2 elevators is to give you a couple of things. Number one, if you have a student who needs that, there are elevators in 2 locations. And then the elevator on this side is closest to your STEM and art for all the materials to go up. And the elevator on this side is there for students who come in the morning and need to go up in the elevator.
And what are the, I don't know how to describe them, but if you go in the center of the horizontal
Here?
plane, those kind of cross hatching.
So this hatching right here, these are student locker pods. So this team has all of its lockers located in one area. So the students, when they arrive every morning, they can go into the team space, drop off all of their items in the locker, then head into the educational spaces. They also have the opportunity to leave the classroom to go to their locker to get something if they need it without leaving the team space. So that's the reason for the door here. And then they have access to restrooms, which is right outside the special ed and the faculty rooms. And so each team is set up identically so that in the future, if you ever want to change which team is where, which grade is where, which subjects are taking place, you have the opportunity to do that.
Do you envision 5th grade being configured differently since isn't 5th grade 4 smaller teams?
Yep, correct. One of the things with that is there's only going to be science room, and I've actually already started to talk with the 5th grade staff about when you do science type stuff, you might need to switch rooms, which is, actually it's a good thing, so there's more flexibility.
Are there special, and I can't read those, faculty restrooms as well?
Yes, so this little gray area right here is 2 restrooms for faculty, as well as a quiet and private space.
Okay. Great.
This is an early concept design, which is holding true as we go through the design. This is what the character of the building will look like when you come into the main foyer of the school, the main lobby, and you can see the glass sort of secures off that area. As you move further into the common space, you have both dining, breakfast, lunch, and any kind of support space that goes on for the library services during the day, either before or after those 2 lunch periods. So we see that as a pretty dynamic, multi-use space throughout the entire day. This is the recital hall. So again, these are some earlier concepts. These seats have been pulled forward a little bit. There was also a lot of talk about what that wall was, whether it was transparent or not. We've revised that. And then this is the gym. So we've talked about on this side, obviously, you would have your adaptive PE space that you saw in the plan, as well as the locker rooms. Seating for approximately 200 on the other side of the gym. And even though this is a middle school, the gym's a little bit tighter, obviously, than your high school. It doesn't seat 900. But it is a full-size high school basketball court. And what that will do is, with a curtain down the middle, that gives you 2 high school half-size basketball courts for gym, as well as the adaptive PE space. So your 3 gym teachers, phys ed teachers, have a pretty good space to work from. Just an update on the exterior view. This is the view of the building if you were driving up Coe Drive. This is the recital hall here, the 3rd and 4th floor, the square, if you will, taking place. This is the chorus room, which is associated with the recital hall. These are the stairs that go up, and then this is the library, art on the 2nd floor, STEM on the 2nd floor, library on the 1st floor. And as you come around from Dennison, this is the front of the building, looking down from Dennison. And I say looking down because Dennison is about, I would say, 10 feet or more above the grade. So this would be looking, this is the front door here. This is the gym side now. This is the adaptive PE space, and then we've got mechanicals up above. Again, the tall glass is the stairways that you see in the plan. This is all the administration. You can see there's lots of glass, so the administration and counselors get complete view of the entire campus, monitoring anybody entering into the campus.
Ron, could you go back 1 slide?
Sure.
The performing arts space, and understanding that you're not going to have lots of windows there,
Correct.
or whatever. I'm wondering if there's any way, and that's a very out front face, to make that look a little more attractive. Is there a way to do that?
Sure.
It looks very prison-like, you know, kind of that kind of narrow slots and a lot of face there. And I know that you can't have the windows for, as we do other places, but I don't know if
You're
there's
talking about this
a
wall
way
here.
to make that.
Oh, yeah, they're like notes.
Yeah, so
There's a reason for those windows.
Kind of,
yeah, so we have 5 lines on that wall, and they'd be recessed lines. And then these are the musical notes. They would actually either be a color or something that glows, would not be a window. This side over here would be sort of like a marquee, if you will,
oh, okay.
a recital hall. And whether that becomes a nice graphic in that same color, or again, whether it just becomes a simple form. We have lots of glass around here. The other thing I want to point out for sustainability purposes, it looks like there's a lot of glass in the building, but strategically, we have less than 25% window-to-wall ratio. And so what that does is it drives down the energy use of the building. So we are trying to be rational in terms of where we put the windows to get daylight into the building and views out of the building of the educational spaces. So we will certainly take a look at that elevation, and maybe it's just the way we've drawn it that you don't really read that musical whimsy yet.
Yeah.
But
What a great idea. That's how
yeah.
creative and.
But we want to get it away from the prison
Right.
and more towards the musical whimsy. So we've got some work to do. This is whimsy. So in the front of the building, what we wanted to do is highlight, this has been a discussion with the building committee throughout the entire project, demarcating the front door with something that stands up and says hello and makes it very welcoming and very clear as to where the front door is. What you don't see here, which I'll show you in a minute, is this again is all the administration space. This is the entrance. This would be the field. So the students are out here right now, but what you don't see is game lines. Obviously, that might be stitched into the artificial turf. And then this is when you get closer to the front door.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
We're thinking on one side of the admin wing, there would be, from one elementary school, all the motifs that they have there. And then from the other elementary school, those motifs, so basically you're coming from the elementary and you're coming into the middle school. Again, just sort of a welcoming place at the front door. And so that's sort of where we are in terms of the design right now. And if it's okay, I'd like to just talk a little bit about the post-vote milestones.
Could I?
Yep.
Just getting back to design. One thing is kind of garden space. I mean, something I would love to see our schools doing more and more is having gardens as teaching space for kids, as well as growing food that's used in food service, building that into curriculum. Is there any land that might be available that we could designate as being a food growing place with this design, or is it too tight?
So I think the backside of the school, as we talked about, that sort of area behind the school on top of the slope that goes down into the man-made wetlands, that would be a great place out back. That is where the students will dine at lunch anyway. So if they had the gardens, I mean, the great gardens that they have right now on the side of the school, it's almost like taking that and just sort of transplanting it, if you will. We obviously wouldn't, but, you know, setting up something exactly like that and maybe even enhancing it, I think is a great opportunity in the back of the building.
Great, thank you.
Yep. So just, I don't want to fly through this, but I do want to hit the major milestones. So I'm knocking on wood, when the vote passes on March 10th, the very next day, we continue with our construction documents, and those are the documents that would be permitted and used for construction. So we pick up and immediately start working on that. On March 30th, because of the fees that we're getting right now, the site and the foundations will be ready to bid, so those construction documents will be done. And the site and foundation bids will go out on March 30th, which is 2 weeks after the vote passes. We will then bid the structural steel, and when I say we, I'm speaking for Bowen Corporation, because they won't let me hold tools or anything. So Bowen will be building the building. So Bowen will then bid the structural steel on April 13th. And then the big red is that we actually start construction. So in mid-May, on May 11th, Bowen foresees them actually coming down to the site and starting to dig holes for the foundations. While that's going on May 25th, they're going to bid the underground mechanical, electrical, and plumbing utilities that go underneath the building. And then they're going to start the foundation work on June 8th. So between May 11th and June 8th, they'll be digging, and then on June 8th, they start putting in the foundations with concrete. On July 17th, all of the remaining construction documents for the bidding will be complete. And on July 20th, Bowen is going to bid the remaining trades. And so what that means is that on August 10th, you'll have a final GMP, which is the guaranteed maximum price, on the construction side of the entire project. At that time, contingencies will be adjusted because the actual bids will be in. It goes from a budget to a bid at that time. On August 10th, they look at starting structural steel, so you'll start seeing the steel frame go up. On March 15th of 21, so that's a whole, you know, we go through the fall and into the spring putting steel up, putting the foundations of steel, the exterior skin. But a year later, we're going to start looking at furniture, equipment, and technology for the school. So we're going to re-engage with all of the educational leaders and start talking about all the fun stuff in the building. June 5th of 2021, we're going to make those final decisions, and on August 15th of 2021, we will bid and sign contracts for the furniture. In November, on November 5th of 2021, they're going to start installing all of the educational infrastructure. The electrician, Bowen, will be out there putting in boxes, if you will, electrical boxes and conduit, and they'll start pulling those wires in November of 2021. The plan is that in January 17th, actually, of 2022, the furniture trucks will show up and all of the furniture, equipment, and educational technology will go into the school. In February of 2022, the staff will move in during that February break. And after all the students come back from February vacation and all the staff and school actually begins in the new building, we will then, meaning Bowen, will then start demolition of the existing school and start demolishing the existing site. There'll be some things that need to take apart. And then in May 13th actually is their targeted date to complete the demolition and start the site cleanup. That allows them to build all of the fields and the parking and the gardens and, you know, everything, the walkways all around the school that we've talked about. The idea is that the building, the whole project actually will be complete on August 26th of 2022. Yep.
Could you go back to the previous slide?
Yep.
Now, if it's, the guaranteed maximum price is determined on, what was it, August 10th? Would we have to have some kind of guaranteed maximum price to determine the bond earlier than that, or?
Right.
Yeah. So
okay.
Andre is, Bowen is going to give us a guaranteed maximum price to work from in November.
Okay.
So that's the finalized GMP. So once he's given us a guaranteed maximum price, that's what we use for the bonding.
So who carries the risk
He does at that point.
between the November 2019 GMP and the August 2020? Is all on Bowen,
That's why.
unless
we
there are
work with
change
him.
orders, right?
Yep.
So I have a question.
Yep.
So it's the next slide, the last one that you just did. Okay, actually, I have two questions. So one has to do with the demolition. So Dover High likes taking this whole year to demolish their high school, and that's like a month. So how is that can get done so quickly? The demolition of the school, you don't know? Okay.
I don't know much about Dover, so
Okay.
just as an example,
It was a much bigger building, Dover High School.
It was bigger, that's
Much,
true.
much bigger.
Yeah,
And they had mitigation,
Okay.
yeah.
okay, so that's, yeah, if they had a lot of hazmat material that wasn't figured out up front and dealt with up front, that would obviously delay some things.
okay.
Our goal is to figure all that out now. Jim is doing a great job. His whole facility crew has got a pretty good handle on what's in that existing building now, including the basement. So I just want to point out, though, that the reality is between April 4th of 2022 and June 20th is when you'll see everything get knocked down, separated on site, and hauled away. So just to give you an example, we just did this. We gave the school over to a contractor on June 13th, and today is last night was August 20th, and they're completely done. So they've ripped the building down, removed everything. We did have transite pipe under the building that we knew about, so all of that was ready to go when it needed to. And they've got 155 parking spaces,
Okay.
I think, and all the landscaping done. So I was out there last night. So it can be done. Good planning, good builder, and we're good to go.
And then my second question is, because I've never been involved in a project like this, so what happens to all the furniture that's currently in the middle school? Like, how does that all work?
Well, we already started to talk about that. I'm currently not buying any new furniture unless it's absolutely necessary, like new chairs and things like that. My staff are aware of that. And what we'll do is things that we have bought that are still very good, desks and things like that, we'll reallocate to other schools. Projectors we recently bought would be reallocated to other schools that need them inside the district. And we've also talked about, there might be the potential of selling this stuff to other school districts.
Or even giving it to other school districts. So we have a policy that guides us through excess materials. So the first option is, as Jay said, does anybody in the district need it? Second option is we'd send out a memo to surrounding school systems, this is what we have, does anybody want to buy it? Third option is, who could we gift it to? And finally, dispose of it. So we kind of go through stages.
So if there's, for example, older furniture somewhere else, you would, a newer furniture from the middle school would go there, and then you get rid of the older
David,
furniture
Misty, and
elsewhere.
Suzanne will go shopping in
Got it.
in January.
Okay.
Other questions?
I just, I think it's incredibly exciting, and it's come an incredibly long way, and I thank you, Ron, and your staff, and I know that Brian and Tom have had a million meetings probably shaping it, and it's, appreciate, all the kind of adjustments, and you keep getting the feedback and tweaking it and improving it, and it's very much appreciated, and it'll be fun bringing this forward, and just thank you very much.
Thank you.
Questions, Ron?
Just a thought, Tom, and the school that I went to when I was a child, my elementary school, was just knocked down and built one next to it 5 years ago. One of the things they did, which was really, really cool, I'd like to see if the board will support this, is right before the school was closed, they let everybody walk through it.
Oh, yeah.
That went through it over the years,
Yeah.
because my parents never told me that, and I missed out, but I got it on video. So, but it was really cool to see. I went to first grade, second grade, all the way up to sixth grade, and I think it'd be a great opportunity for the
Ron,
district
could
to
you
see
go
that.
back to the slide on the footprint that shows the roads? Just, I did want to address the issue since it was asked, that Dean brought up. So initially, we were hoping to be able to salvage the current gym, but in order to create a safe and separate roadway for parents, the gym would have sat right where that road is,
here.
and so it would have occupied road frontage and parking lot. And then the other part of the building I was hoping to salvage initially was the original 1936 section, but the cost of touching that building would have been incredibly expensive because it was never designed per se for the code requirements of today. So that's why we decided to optimize the space, and ultimately what guided our decision was the safety issue. We needed to separate the car traffic from the bus traffic, because that was where we were having kids, and do have kids as of today, walking in among buses and cars while they're moving. And so the design on the safety aspect of the traffic pattern really took precedent.
Not only that, it also gave us more green space. We actually have more green space in the new design than we have currently. So,
Okay.
Thank you,
Well,
Ron.
thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ron.